Hello, and today we are going to cover one of my favorite programs out there, and it's completely free. As you can see, the slogan says "Helping debtors become savers." It's from Utah State University. It's a free software, and it's going to give you basically the tools to do a couple of different things. I like it because of something called Power Payments, but it creates this nice detailed debt elimination plan. And as you can see, they've gotten cool too, and you can also get Powerpay debt elimination on your iPhone or iPad. That's something that's fairly new. I didn't know about that actually until today. So, but anyway, this is a fantastic program. I really, it's free, so I do want you to sign up so you can play around with it, and you'll need it later. So I'm already logged in. I should be. And let's take a look here. No, it may not be, but you can set up a free account going online, and this should let me right in. Okay, I am in. So anyway, so here is basically all your settings. Down here it gives you preferences and everything. Not too worried about that right now. What I want you to navigate, you can see the tabs up here at the top. You have your Powerpay, a spending plan, and then Power Save, and then you have some miscellaneous calculators, which are pretty cool. So if I go over to Powerpay, you can see, okay, I've already got stuff entered in here. This is probably from my graduate class. We use Powerpay to help a client get out of debt, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually delete these because I'm going to enter my own in just a moment, and I want to show you how you can do that. So basically, if you're like most students, the average student coming out of college has about, anywhere, depending on what stats you look at, $25,000 to $30,000 worth of student loan debt, and then at times you can have the credit card maxed out pretty good too. It can be upwards around $2,500 or $3,000. So first thing we're going to do is we got to put in all of our creditors. If we're really serious about getting our debt paid off, we've got to enter all of our creditors. Okay, and this could include parents. This could include a loan from a friend, but more than likely it's going to include it's going to include our credit card payments, our student loans, if we have a mortgage, etc. So I'll show you really quickly how to enter this data. So I'm just going to do the first one as ABC credit card. Okay, I'm going to say there's a $4,000 balance on there. Let's see. It doesn't want you to use commas. That's right. I forgot about that. They're kind of weird about that. Okay. Interest rate, we'll say it's at 15%. Usually the payment and we can calculate this real quick. We're going to probably say that the payment is going to be probably 2% of the balance. So 80. So we'll say it's actually a little bit more. We'll say that it's the payment on this is $125. Okay, we'll say that that's what the credit card company says is the minimum payment. So we enter those three variables, and what you'll see, what it'll do here is it'll calculate basically, okay, on that information given, it'll take 3 years and 6 months. Okay, now if we would have done 80, it would take 6 years. But let's, doing 120 does a lot better. So that's a credit card. Now remember, that's revolving credit. So the next one you could do, let's do one more credit card, and let's do that at 2,500. We'll say that payment's $65 at 23%, and you could save that creditor's information, and again it'll project, so you can see that's going to take a lot of time to pay off just paying the minimum, and I'm assuming that these are the minimum payments. Okay, and then the next one I could do something a little bit different here. If I wanted to, I could take, well, first of all, I could pull up Microsoft Excel, and let me close some of these real fast. Let's say I want to enter my student loan. Well, let's come up with student loan payment real quick. Present value, future value, PMT rate number, and then beginning and end, and this is going to be an installment payment. It'll be due at the end. The present value, let's say that we are borrowing, I don't know, $55,000. So $55,000 is what we graduate with student loan debt. Our future value is 0. We're going to solve for our payment. Our rate, when you consolidate your student loans, it typically takes a weighted average of all your student loans. So, for example, if 50% were at, I don't know, 5%, 50% of all your loans were at 5%, 50% of your loans were at 6%, well, your weighted average would be 5.5%. So in this area, sorry about that, in this scenario right here, I'm just going to go ahead and do 0.06. I'm going to divide that by 12. Oops, and I need to put equals on there as well. And then the number is going to equal, now remember, there's different repayment options for student loans. The maximum extended repayment now, today, as we speak, now President Obama and Capitol Hill, they're working a lot on some kind of student loan reform, but we don't know what that's going to entail at this point right now. The Democrats want one thing and the Republicans want obviously another thing. Surprise, surprise, like that's never happened before. But so the maximum right now is 25 years. Okay, so that's going to actually equals 25 times 12. So if we want to calculate our payment, we would do our rate and then comma, number of periods, present value, future value, and then we could just hit 0 for the end of the period, and you would get $354.37. So you could calculate it yourself. I did it just to make sure that our numbers are going to add up right. So let's put in my student loan. Let's say my best friend's name, no kidding, is Sally. Her last name is May. We've been friends for a long time and may be friends for a little bit longer. So 55,000 is going to be this. And then see, we did this because we needed to know what our payment was. 357.37, 354.37. I'm just going to put 355 in there. That would be fine. Rate is, and then let's see, yeah, rate is going to be, what did we say? Did we say 6% divided by 12? Yeah. Oh goodness. Okay, so here we are. We're going to do 6% now. When we're entering the student loans, we've gotten Sally May entered, my good friend Sally May, who I'm best friends with. Balance 55,355, and then 6. So if we save this information, it should come out and say, actually, well, it's because we put 0.06. I was like, that looks a lot better. But we put 6 here. Remember, Excel's going to want you to put, and that should take us, yep, right there at 24 years and 11 months. So we know that our time value of money is right there, because the reason it's off a little bit is obviously because we rounded that up to 355. Okay, now let's say we have a auto loan as well. Okay, and let's say that the current balance is, so we'll say JHP Auto, and we'll say that the current balance is 17,500. Oh, I did that comma again. 17,500. Let's say that the payment is 316. Let's say we got that at 3.56% interest. So based on that, it's going to calculate how much you have left on that. So you still have 5 years to pay on your car. Now, you could also do loan to parent. So let's say you owe them $5,000. You could do, again, I did the comma again. It's just a habit, and it's kind of frustrating, but that's okay. Let's say that you're trying to pay them $100 a month, but let's say that they are very, very nice and they're not charging you any interest. And it will work one of these days. It's calculating. So it says, based on that, even with no interest, it would be 4 years and 2 months. So here we have entered all of our debt information. And now what Now what it shows you down here is it will show you the total paid, which would be $140,009, and then of that the interest is $56,009, and your total payoff time would be equal to the lengthiest loan you have, which is your student loans. Now what this is doing, this is paying the absolute minimum payment on these. Now you could put the payment you're paying right now on your credit cards, or that your client's paying right now. You don't have to always use the minimum payment. You could just enter what they're paying, and that's fine. Okay, so now a couple of things we could do. First, we could do extra payments. I'll come back to that in a minute. So most of the time, you're going to have your minimum amount of payments that you need to pay, right? And then you'll try to find somewhere in your budget, you'll try to squeeze out an extra $100, $150, $200 but you never really know where to apply it, and so we'll do that in a second. So once we get the data entered, I want you to go to Payment Calendar, and what you see here is the results. Now the first thing I'm going to do is switch this back to without power payments, because I haven't told you what power payments are. Power payments are basically, if you've ever heard of the debt snowball, it's paying the minimum, it's paying the required amount on the credit cards, the debt that we entered, all the way until you get one paid off. And then once one's paid off, then you should be applying this 120 that you were paying over into the next highest either interest or the next lowest balance, whichever method you want to use. But in this situation, since we're not using power payments, once we pay off the 120 here on, what is this, ABC credit card, then our last, in March 2018, our last payment is $46.84. Instead of, this is a situation where it's not using power payments, so the credit card payment stays at 65, stays at 355 and 316 for the student loans and auto, and then your parents' loan is still at 100. Okay, now so that's March 2018. Now there's a couple of different ways we can pay off debt. A lot of people like to pay off debt with the highest interest first. So without power payments right now, again, your debt's going to be $140,009, and you're going to end up paying out of that $56,000. It's going to take you 24 years. Now, using that same amount of cash flow, the total payments, we could do our highest interest balance first. We could do that method. Okay, and so using highest, we can reduce that from all the way down to 9 years and 9 months. So let's look at the payment schedule on that. So you can see that what's going to happen here is coming down to March 2018, when you get that first this 120 card paid off, you can see that the amount, this 120, you pay your $46.84, and it's no longer but the difference from the 120 and the 46.84 is applied to XYZ, assuming that that's the highest credit card balance first. And if you remember, if that was the one we entered, then I believe that was the highest one we had. And so it'll add the 120 on here until that's paid off. And so these are still at 355, 316, and 100. Now, come to October 2018, now you've applied those power payments over to this credit card, and now you're done and completely paid off that. So what do we do now? Do we start spending that money, using that other places? No, we keep that in the power payment plan, and now we go over here and we now go from 355 to 384 and 316, and you can see that during that's what we'll do for October 2018. Now the next month you have absolutely no payment here, no payment here, so all of that can be applied to this payment right here, which is your auto loan, and then that would be your student loan, making the minimum payment on that. Good thing your parents' loan is paid off now, and you can see that it continues to do that. So in August of 2019, there's more money now put on the student loan. So after you get your debt and everything paid off, you're able to pay off your student loan and get that all the way paid off until down at the bottom. So it's a really cool program. You can see that, look at that. You only paid $27,405 worth of interest using that method versus $56,009.83. Okay, so a lot of savings there. Now you could also do, remember we talked about sometimes we want to tackle from a psychological standpoint, we want to tackle the lowest balance first. The reason for that is because every time we get something paid off small, it always helps out. So in this situation, what you would see is it's going to take you 9 years, 9 months, $27,424 in interest paid. But you can see that we start with the lowest balance or the lowest balance first, and that's where the extra money is applied to. Okay, so we could do it that way, or we could do the shortest term, or calculate as entered. So you can do a lot of different options here, just whatever kind of floats your boat. Now, one thing that we didn't do in this calculation here is a lot of times you're going to have extra payments. You've worked, you found some you found somewhere in the budget, let's say starting in let's say starting in 2015, you think that you're going to be able to have an extra $250 a month because you're going to get a raise, or maybe you're just going to start watching your money and budget correctly. So we'll save this payment information in here. Okay, and so that's going to save our 250. So if we go back, we got our creditor information, we got our extra payments. Okay, so now you notice that I did put that monthly. So now I'm going to go down and I'm going to go back to my payment calendar. And on my payment calendar, now I can see that I can do, let's say we want to do the lowest balance first. We can calculate, and you can see that let's see here, it shows that it's August 2014 coming up, and you can see that January 2016, or January 2015, where's that at? Right there, January 2015, you can see we go from $65 to $315, and the reason for that is because what? Because we're adding that extra money on each month. And so you can add that extra payment, and that's going to help reduce your cost as well. And you can print out this calendar as well. So that's just the tools that you can use for, and you look, it's time reduction 17 years, 8 months. But we could do highest interest. Doesn't really change a whole lot, but if we do without power payments, there's absolutely no reduction there. And it's a pretty cool little tool that you can use to help you get out of debt. So I really like it. Now there's other things you can do here. You can do spending plan. You can do a power save. So if you wanted to reach a savings goal, you could do that. There's all sorts of really cool calculators on this. So you can do a loan qualifier, which we talked about in the class. What's your debt to income ratio? You could say it's 20%. Your monthly take home, I don't know, I'm just playing around. We'll say it's 5,000. Basically, it says your debt payment must be 1,000 or less. So it just basically calculates 20% of the 5,000. So a lot of cool things here. There's an education center, and there's more information about Powerpay. So I just think this is a cool little tool that you can use to either help a client or help yourself get out of debt. So hopefully that was beneficial for you.